We'll jokingly call it Skinamax, but Cinemax had a whole amazing comedy division. Like it was the last season of SCTV was on Cinemax.
Oh, was it?
And then there were all those comedy experiments, and Chris Elliott had 2 comedy experiments, I believe.
I think, well, there was something that Martin Short did called "I'm Martin Short, Go to Hollywood." Do you remember that? I remember I had it on tape because we had the same manager briefly, and I laughed my ass off. I thought it was the funniest damn thing I'd ever seen. And I saw him at a party, and I told him, I just saw that, and it's genius. And he goes, oh, everybody hated that. I got so much shit for it. So, well, I got so much shit for Vandemonium. Mostly everything I do. But now, where's my series? Can I go out with Meryl Streep? Genius piece, and might have been for HBO,
but it too was a comedy experiment.
Yes, yeah. You were kind of allowed to. Well, some people. Well, I wasn't allowed to do it after that.
So it was carte blanche. They went yes.
Yes, yeah, because I had a little bit of cachet that I used for that rather than, try to be in Fatal Attraction, which I had been sent that script when I was shooting Making Mr. Right. And I read it, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Of course, it could have been, that's when I could have done the cha-ching, really sold out. But I remember when Action came out, not that I would have gotten it, but I think they would have flown me. You would have been great.
Yeah.
I would have had to kiss Michael. You know what? I mean, you look back after so many decades and you think, Jesus, But I didn't, that was not where my head was at all. And then I remember shopping in a supermarket, and the Time magazine had just come out. And it was a Glenn Close on the cover. And it said, the most hated woman in America. The most hated woman in America. And no, I didn't know. I can do that on my own. In Hollywood, don't help me with that. But the reason I brought up that period of time, it was so creative, and we just were all, pinballs in the same pinball machine against each other and with ideas, and so excited and full of life and joy. And then AIDS came in and really put a huge damper on things. And it wasn't just AIDS, it was Reagan's second term, and MTV had sort of commercialized a lot of stuff, and then it became very commodified, and there was sort of this, I don't know, it was just, you were either, I preferred to try to take whatever clout, which was very little, and do more wacky things, on stage or in. Vulcan Death Grip was a real band, so to speak, but we did gigs and people thought we were real. And oh yeah, we opened for Jesus and Mary Chain, and half the people loved us, half the people hated us, and that was great. But it got a little violent. That's another story. But doing these things in real life rather than. I just thought it was. I remember going to rehearse with the band in Queens in the van with the guys, and like, God, this is better than being an actress. I actually am Vulcan Death Grip. I am living this band. We're going to the music building and going up and down. You take the elevator and hear all the bands and the different. It's like I can be a heavy metal singer for this period of time. In this period of time, and then I had a folk band at the same period of time, and I could just do all that in the real world, which I think, to me at the time, was much more exciting. Well, I don't know if I had a choice, but it was much more fun than, going on auditions and being rejected or trying to fit into these molds, because the 80s, you know, in mainstream movies were pretty, and you know, the women's parts, with a few exceptions.
And I mean, made for TV comments on that as well.
Yes.
Not in the movie realm, but in the TV realm. It's, I mean, there's so many characters in there.
It's asked me, he had just done a video with John Sachs called Undercover Me, where John was a James Bond type. I think it's online. It's really funny, and we got to know each other, and he wanted to do a video, and I think it was Steve Brown, who was another one who passed away from AIDS in the late 80s, early 90s, and I think I really would have to credit him. I'm pretty sure he was the one who said you should do a video and you're on every channel.
Steve Brown.
Steve Brown, who was a good friend of David Wojnarowicz. There's not much written about him, but he is mentioned in the David Wojnarowicz books, and he was a great guy. He did Love Comics with Barry Shills. He was part of Club 57, which was a club that I managed, and many of the people involved in both of these videos came out of there, and the Pyramid Club, and Eric Bogosian was doing his thing more sort of in Soho, but there was a lot of bleed, and he and I did duets, we called them. We did them at Folk City, and we did them out here in LA, so we do characters together.
Did you do the preacher characters together too?
No, we did, let's see, well, he played this, we did this couple called the Golds, and we were really yuppie and into success. And we did these success seminars, the Golds, and then we had these street people, and he was really rough street people selling shit on the street, and it was pretty crazy, pretty abrasive. And then he also played like a Bob Guccione character. I played a playmate. I spoke like, and then I went off and changed into my Babe Wrangler character, who was this hardcore, old school dyke. And I know some people might have problems with that, but I've got Frank Folksinger loved Babe Wrangler, so her seal of approval. But I came on as Babe Wrangler and beat the shit out of the Bob Guccione guy because he was such a chauvinist pig. But this was at Folk City, and Joseph Papp was in the audience, and he wouldn't talk to me. I don't know what's wrong with people.
So I wanted to say, you know, I was born and raised in a small town in northern British Columbia called Fort St. John, and it's cold. It's very cold. And when we got cable, it was a big deal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, cable was a real lifesaver. And so one of the stations we got was the PBS affiliate from Seattle.
Oh yeah.
And PBS had this weird show, and I didn't know what it was, but I was just transfixed by it. I'd have to watch it every week. And it was called Alive from Off Center. Yeah. And I was going, this is called, yeah. It was video art. I'm like, video art? I didn't know what that was, but I wanted to see more of it. And I remember seeing Made for TV. And, you know, that was my first introduction to your work, and I've never forgotten it. I mean, it's unforgettable.
Yeah, it's really, I feel very proud about these. It's good to watch Vandemonium and have everybody laugh so much. Because I'm really reamed by them. It's like, what? Well, I didn't really read all of them. I read enough to think, I'm not reading any of the more of those. But yeah, they were really, I mean, you know, critics are such assholes. And in the 80s, they were the worst.
And these were your standard TV critics?
Yeah, but that was probably an issue. But it's called a comedy experiment. I'm not telling jokes in front of a brick wall. I remember trying to get an HBO special with a version of The Love Show, and they sent some people down, and they said, it's too much like Sandra's show, Sandra Bernhard. It's like, I was doing these things while she was still telling jokes in front of a brick wall wearing a midi skirt. And, you know, those jackets, you know, improv or whatever. I mean, and I'm not putting her down. She was great at what she does, but it's like, what? I'm not gonna. Oh God, fuck all of you. I'm just gonna go do this. I got another idea, and I'm gonna call up somebody who go to the Lhasa Club or
Another idea.
Zebulon or something.
There's a million ideas. It's incredible. A million characters and a million ideas. It's stuffed with amazing stuff.
Well, I have to say, William Fleet Lively and I, and Frank Holliday, who was also a Club 57 person, he contributed a lot. Pilar Lemosner, who did the costumes, she contributed a lot. We were all, it was exactly a little bit like Buddy and Sally and Dick Van Dyke in the writer's room for the Dick Van Dyke show. It was that kind of, we're just laughing our asses off. And I just found a version of the script in this that was, it's much more involved. It's so involved.
Well, what was cut out?
Oh God, so much. So much. I was just reading the beginning. I haven't read the whole thing, but the beginning, that whole thing where Piglet and her are going to the Redneck-orama, they were going to go through, like, as you saw them going through, like, first it was going to be the, you know, through the desert, and then you saw, you know, the Eiffel Tower, and then there was, you know, the Taj Mahal, and then there were icebergs in the Arctic. Like, it was so surreal. I mean, it was much more wacky and surreal, but it was too long, and so there was another page in here that says things to cut, and then asterisks. If we can keep this, it'd be really great, you know. So all these things that had to be shortened because that's the time constraint.
Right, it was 23 minutes. Did they tell you, like, did the
It
network
had
say
to
that?
be a certain number, yeah, because, you know, these things had to fit into their slots. But then when they were going to put it on video, I mean, out on VHS, it wasn't long enough. So Tom Rubin's allowed us to put made for TV on it. That's why it's called Vandemonium Plus. Because they wanted to have, whether they had to have at least, I think it's about 40 minutes or 45 minutes, but unfortunately, this is not streaming anywhere. If anyone has any connections to HBO, I know a few people I could possibly about that. But, because next year is the 40th anniversary.
So we're here on the 39th anniversary? It's the 39th anniversary.
So that gives you time to prepare for the 40th.
Yes, a little bit. Yeah, given how slow I am now. As opposed to then, I need that time.
So the network approached you to do Cinemax approached
HBO, somebody, you know, I don't remember exactly.
Were you guys just sitting around watching a lot of Croft? A lot of Sid and Marty Croft.
We didn't need to. We grew up on
It was
stuff.
all. So it was just.
I mean, our brains
embedded.
were already, you know, we were already on that wavelength. And William is one of the Moral Majority singers, and Lisa Altamari, who also passed away not too long ago. She's the woman. J.P. Doherty's on the other side. He's fortunately still with us, and he did the voice of the bong. And
Yeah, the talking bong. That's a very should have been a Croft.
yeah,
But you
and then
almost-
later I saw Mr. Show did something, and they had the flute, or the flute was a bong. I was like, we did that before you guys.
And they were
We
doing a
did it
Croft
before.
parody too. That was their Croft
Yeah,
parody. that
this
they did
wasn't
years
meant to.
later.
I didn't set out to make this a Croft parody at all. It was supposed to be just a psychedelic, surreal, weird, fun, and we just kept making up stuff. But I'd done this. I'd done the character of Sweet Pea before. I'd done Vulcan Death Grip was already playing around town. Joey Arias and I had done the Salvador Dali and Gala shows. So we've done all the
Manson and Squeaky.
the Manson and Squeaky. Yeah, we did the Family, the new tribal rock musical. It was the Manson musical. Mark Shaman, who just put a book out, he won the Tony for Hairspray. He did the music for the Pollyann Van, and he was in a lot of the shows because him and Scott Whitman did their first shows at Club 57. And they got to Club 57 because I went up probably 70 or early 80, maybe late 70. Anyway, I thought I want to get some have a comedy night because comedy was. So I went up to Catch a Rising Star and the Improv to see people, to scout it out. And I didn't like anybody except, well, I didn't think anybody would fit, but Marjorie Gross. I thought she was really funny, and I went up to her and I said, I've got this club, I'd like to book you and have a comedy. And so I got to know her, and she came down there, and this is what Mark and Scott, one of them, told me, that Marge said to them, he said, you got to go down to this place. They like all the same stuff we do. And you got to check us out. And so the scene grew. It pulled in people from all kinds of different areas, but with similar sensibility and a DIY. Like, we're not going to wait around for somebody to give us a break. We're just going to do it on no money and pull out cardboard boxes from the street and make the sets and then toss them out the next day. Exciting time, a wonderful time to be creative. It was cheap. You could live in the East Village on next to nothing. So it was a good time.
Now, and how did Meatloaf get involved?
Oh, well, this is a crazy thing. I wanted to mention this. I saw this and I thought, oh my God, I have to read this. I think we were casting, we were trying to figure out who's going to play what. And then, of course, I had, I was already doing stuff with Eric and all the people I'm already doing stuff with. There was all this people knew people, and you knew what, so it was like putting it all together. And they seemed like the best people to create something like with this kind of wackiness.
And there was a Night Flight connection too. Is that correct? The fellow from Night Flight.
Oh yeah. Well, I did something for them before. I think they contacted me. And
I saw his name in the credits.
Yes, he was. I did Fallopia, the Prince protege, that I created for these clubs that I was in, and the Pyramid. I did the Pyramid and some other places, and they got in touch. Somehow they got in touch with me and wanted me to do something, and I was doing that at the time. So William, and I think it was also Frank Holiday helped write, and they said, we want to do something where we got to show videos. I said, well, let's just show clips, and Fallopia will comment on everything and give lessons on how to be a new wave video slut. So I had this, we had names for Piglet. Piglet. Okay, agent submissions, ? Meatloaf. Somebody at William Morris Agency. See, because I was with William Morris at the time, and they probably, let's see this for a second. Piglet, here's a page, it says Piglet. Meatloaf is number 1. Oliver Platt. Vince D'Onofrio. James Stein Jr., I don't know who that is. J.P. Daugherty, Andy Craig, whoever that was. Where to get choppers. And then we got Meatloaf in between Bat Out of Hell albums, right? And we got to a location. He said he could ride a motorcycle, and they had a motorcycle there. And he said, "I can't ride this." What? And that was more like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? How are we gonna solve this? How are we gonna solve this? And we got he learned enough to get, some of it was wobbly, and I think we got enough footage But then a lot of it was on a trailer, so that the camera was on, so he was just pretending to. I thought, you said you could ride a motorcycle. I guess it was too heavy of a motorcycle or something. I don't know, but it worked out. But we got, I guess he said yes right away. So yeah, I think it was. A lot of the stuff was kind of through William Morris, and they probably got that.
It looks like it was quite an elaborate shoot.
Yes, it was.
And how long did it take?
Well, I think the planning was a couple of months, and then the shoot was really only maybe 2 weeks. At the thing, there was location, and because we did the Piglet stuff out in like Elizabeth, New Jersey, or somewhere. It was, and then they found this trash dump place. Well, it was maybe scrap iron place. That's where that Charlie and Squeaky and she comes out
And there's so many references. I mean, like the Charles Manson in the garbage dump, because he's got the song called Garbage Dump.
Yes.
Things go, really.
Yes, yeah. Oh yeah, no, it was very layered. So
Yeah.
that's why we had the thing at the beginning that said record now. Even though it said you're not allowed to record now, because we wanted people to, and everybody was recording stuff and trading tapes and stuff. So we wanted to be dense so people would kind of could watch it more, and if they were so inclined, to find those little, I guess they call them Easter eggs now.
Like when I think of, Firesign Theater also did a comedy experiment as well for Cinemax, and when I think of their records where you just have to go back, there's just so many layers, and it's rare in comedy, where you want to listen to it again and again and again. Normally it's like a stand-up special or something like that.
Yeah.
But what you get here too, it's just, you have to watch it again and again and again.
I do remember listening to those Firesign theater records with the older hippie guys, when you get to be lucky enough to go skip school with them and smoke some pot. And they'd play that stuff. Half the stuff I knew, but the other record I liked a lot, our neighbor had it, was The First Family with Von Meter, and then also Freiberg.
Stan Freberg.
Stan Freberg. Yeah. Mutiny.
Yeah.
Grumble. That one was played a lot. So all that, I think my earliest memory when I've watched your show of shows, now that everything's available online, I know my parents watched a lot of TV, and I know that as a very young person, I was very influenced by that stuff. Yes.
I want to know about the characters. All the characters. Where did they originate? Like, because for both Vandemonium and for Made for TV, there's so many characters. Did you already have kind of an idea of what the
Yes, I had.
characters were, and then you
Yeah, it was developed. I developed most of those in live shows,
got it. Okay.
in clubs.
So those you already played a lot of those roles.
Yes. Yes, not all of them. I mean, the TV, I made a whole list of, I wanted to make all the television watching, time wasting I did in my life amount to something. So I make a list of like, well, what is it through a typical broadcast day. So, we gotta have this, we gotta have that. So sometimes it's just these little, and then there are things like we call it Phyllis Donahue, the talk thing between the Republican and the, so that was,
Gidget.
Gidget, we shot that. So Tom Rubinus was really good friends with the B-52s, and we went up they had a house upstate on a lake, and we went up there for a weekend, and I took a lot of wigs and clothes, but also we raided Kate and Cindy's closets, and I think we give them a thing. Gidget Bites the Dust, that was a Cindy outfit, and the wigs, there were all that stuff we borrowed. treated them very yes. So, and then Lena Hagen-Dazovich was in a graveyard in that area, and same with the dress barn.
I mean, there's so many characters and so many edits. Now, I want to ask, with Tom Rubnitz, I mean, he's done a lot of interesting work. I mean, he did Pickle Surprise,
Oh, yeah.
and that Frida character, which is just a kind of
He was very much a part of the Pyramid Club,
right.
and he did a lot of videos with people who were performing there. Frida was at the.
How would you describe Frida? Frida's like I see Frida as like influencing half the experimental YouTube videos that are out there. It's like a mannequin.
It's a
long...
head, with it's on top of somebody's head, a mannequin. It's a doll head, and then she's got she's wearing a dress, a caftan sort of thing that covers her, so she's super long, and then these arms, so everything is out of whack.
So he did these videos of Frida, and I remember seeing a photo of the two of you. I think it might have been for a live on air, or it might have been for Made for TV, and you both look like such nice people.
They are nice people.
But it was like, what's going on?
Well, we grew up on television. We liked rock and roll. We liked fun things. We didn't want to be part of a 9-to-5 square world, and it's something you are either that or you're the people who have the 9-to-5. Now there were people in the scene who did have 9-to-5 jobs, and they were still active in some of these shenanigans, but New York at the time was so cheap to live. It was dangerous as hell, but all these things were very possible. It was all, and I would go to the Salvation Army or a thrift store or whatever and take bags from and I would hardly have paid anything. And I remember at one point there was so much stuff in my apartment that I just basically called them up and said, "Come and get it." You know, like, I've got 10 bags of clothes. Can you pick them up? Yeah. I gave Wendy Wild all the psychedelic dresses I bought over the years. I said, "Wendy, I'm never going to wear these. They're all for you." And she came in and she was just, I said, "Take them." And because you could get more. I mean, there was never, you just get a wig and suddenly you had the character. You'd get a dress and that you had a character. I was thinking about some of the thrift stores dresses, all that stuff. The costumes for the most part in Made for TV were things that I had.
Each character is so different from the next. It's incredible. Like these fast edits, there's so many.
The editor did a great job.
And so many characters.
The editor really made that work. And you know, that's interesting about, at that period of time, it wasn't with computer. You had to edit chronologically. So if you had, like, say, we're gonna make this 15 minutes. So we had I don't know if we had the beginning and the end, but we did have a script. But then you had to, if you had something, and then there was like, you know, when you're looking at a rough assembly or one of the latter assemblies of the whole thing, and it's like, oh, this kind of drags, you'd have to find something somewhere else and put it in the exact amount. It's like, we need 10 seconds here to tighten this up. You couldn't just tighten it up like that. You had to insert something, so we go back and look and see, like, let's put that in, let's put that in, let's put that in. So it was really interesting. It was kind of like the cut-up method, but you couldn't rearrange the pieces once they were put in. You had to kind of work around them, so it forced you to, it kind of told you what it wanted to be, or what it, well, this needs to be tightened, or this needs to be this, or this needs to be funny, or so you'd have to go find something that you'd already shot and put it in there. And he did a great job, the guy who wrote the editor.
Speeding up like that tempo.
Yeah.
It's just, it's incredibly paced. Really is.
Yeah, it was wonderful. Thank you, everybody, for coming. It's really nice to see it with people and hear the laughs and know that there's an appreciation. And also, there's so much like the Tammy stuff, Pollyann, whatever. We should have changed the name for Cinemax because that's why she couldn't be Stevie Nicks. She has to be a non-specific generic lookalike. That's exactly what the lawyer said. And I said, that's the line. That's what we're going to say. In fact, I remember we were going through it with the lawyer, and he said about the Stevie Nicks. He said to his assistant, he said, Stevie Nicks, can you just see what her litigious nature is? He said, her litigious nature? And that was a Bongwater song, which ended up being prophetic.
I wonder if she saw it.
I don't know.
Should we open it up for some questions?
Yes,
No,
yeah.
right now. Yeah.
So Made for TV was on PBS. That's what you're saying, because I don't remember seeing it on PBS, but I must have seen it on PBS because it gave me all these flashbacks to me and my friends with half-inch home video cameras, recreating what you were like. I had a video that I did for a high school project where I was walking around in a cemetery, like basically recreating this video that you did. So I must have seen it, and I was like, I know what I'm going to do for class. So you really launched 1,000 ships
For
high school kids, like with their home video cameras, like playing, like going to thrift stores, getting costumes, and then playing around.
Yeah,
My
that's
friend-
showbiz, baby.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing it there, but I must have because I just remember.
It did. It showed on this show called Alive from Off Center, which was a PBS show.
Yeah. Well, I wish I had a VHS copy of my recreation of your
Oh,
video. That would be great.
I wish I had a copy of my high school video assignment, which was recreating a scene from the Mod Squad.
Oh,
That's all. Other story.
Sweet pea.
No. You know, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of them that I wish I could have played versions of and maybe more mainstream. But then I just, I kind of like the Phyllis Donahue, the character that's like Moonbeam. If you can't do that's your problem. And like, I don't know. There's a lot of them that would be fun to do for a longer stint, but I did Tammy a lot. That one's always. I mean, I improvise like crazy on stage with that, and even these were all small people.
you should have been a VJ. That was the ultimate
VJ.
video show. Like, totally.
There was one character. I didn't realize till later that it was you until the character was swirling around your head. It was the camera operator.
Oh yeah, Babe Wrangler.
So that was
She's
Babe
the one who beat up the Bob Guccione character played by Eric Bogosian. Like, what are you talking about?
So she was operating the camera.
Yeah,
for
she was the camera
The
person.
PTL type.
Yes, and also she pulled the ladder for. She's a grip. She pulled the ladder for
Oh yeah.
John Sachs as the angel, the pizza delivering angel, and he's no longer with us. It's quite a slice of just to be reminded, just to see William dancing. He choreographed all of that. He was a choreographer. One of the funniest people on the goddamn planet. You cannot. We laughed. I mean, so hard. Is that a thing with youth? I wasn't even high. We were high on ourselves and all this humor and
It's play.
finding the absurdity of life and even in absurdity in our situations because we never had enough money really but to see him dancing and being so alive, it really seeing that makes it all worthwhile, because I really did get, I got raped over the coals a lot by some of these mainly men critics, but
It's so funny that you got being raped over the coals, because so much of it clearly has been used to make full series. I mean, that religious character,
oh yeah.
that's Righteous Gemstone.
Oh yes, I've heard, I saw a little clip of that show.
That character would have been great in that show because it was clearly built around it. It's such a beautiful.
Well, I was obsessed with watching. Well, I grew up in West Virginia, and I was obsessed with preachers. Anyway, my grandfather was, but I didn't know him. He passed away long before I was born. But I was.
Mighty Boosh is clearly another little reference with the whole kind of high character who's a Buddha flying in the
Oh,
background.
yeah.
They clearly saw that and went, that's brilliant. And had a little.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, I think everybody who makes these shows are all kind of on the same wavelength,
Yeah.
and we're reacting to the world around us and finding like the absurdities of it. But
or maybe they weren't ready for it. You know?
well, that's probably true. But I mean, I would sit and watch Tammy, and there was a Trinity Broadcast Network with Jan Crouch. Watch them for really hours. I'd write down, I'd write things down or just remember it. It's easy. But also, when I go back to West Virginia, my friend from high school, Jackson Morton, and I, we were always riffing and making up stuff and talking in these voices. It's laughing our asses off. Sometimes high, but often not. And is that a youth, all that?
I remember someone once asked me, "Why would you do that?" And it's like, "Because it's funny." Oh, right, because it's funny. And then they go, "Yeah, oh, that makes sense."
But see, we've got this whole thing happening again with, Erica Kirk isn't that different from Tammy and all that stuff, and
Her Tigu outfits, yeah.
and the just the. One could do. I've wanted to do a made-for-TV 2, Old Lady. So it's all older, old.
Well,
OLD, but put the D in. I would put the D in old. And Adam Dugas and I we made videos. They're on my YouTube channel, some of them, and. We talked about doing it, but I just don't have that kind of crazy energy, and that mind is just it has to. And then you find other people with the same thing. They're all just put on a show. Let's do this. Let's do this.
Can you make it like a parody of ASMR? It's a little more slow, more chill.
I don't know. I think that. I think people have already.
Yeah,
The thing online is there's so many funny people on Instagram and TikTok. Well, I only saw the TikTok things. They're TikTok things. When they show up on Instagram, I see them there. But there's so many funny people. I never watch actors. I don't even want to watch actors too much. Oh, Hawaii Five-0 is. We are binge watching the old Hawaii Five-0. I'll make an exception for that, and Mannix. But I don't want to watch Severance I've heard they're good, but it's just like, this takes too much time. There's the guy who's imitating his wife, is sort of doing riffs on a perimenopausal wife. That's so funny, and the Swiss guy with his cat. Hi guys, look how beautiful it is in Austria. You can't beat this stuff. It's so great. It's so funny.
you did it before everybody. And did all
Well, but so did anybody who's making comical character work at your show of shows or.
Yeah, but not many
Soupy
people
Sales,
did just
I was
all the
really
characters
obsessed.
themselves. You did all the characters for Made for TV. It was all of you, and that you don't see there now. Yeah.
And how many characters is that? I lost track. Was anyone keeping
Yeah,
count?
it was-
Was anyone keeping count?
It was great
Here's
fun.
everything.
It was great fun to do.
I love how dark it went too. Like the toilet bowl.
Oh yeah. Oh, and my mother said, "Oh, I related to that." I often felt I was just watching my life go down the drain. Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah, it has. Well, it has to be dark because it's all. Why do you think we're having fun? Because life's dark. It's getting dark. It's darker than ever. I thought it was bad when Reagan and with Vietnam and then Reagan and then AIDS and then now this. I mean, this is a ripe time. There's some good political stuff going on up there. Really good. I think this is, I mean, for the first time I saw a Saturday Night Live clip. I'm like, that's it. The Colin Just doing Hegseth.
Oh, yeah.
That was really on target, and they need to be like just fucking get the nails out. You know, and hammer them to the fucking wall. Get more Brechtian. Let's get, you know. I remember being fascinated as a kid watching the Chicago 5 on the Chicago 7 on television at the trial, and even I remember really clearly. My dad was a lawyer. I remember there was a point where they all got up and started saying something. I don't know what they were doing. You know, yippee kind of political theater in the courtroom. And my dad started laughing, and I thought, yeah. And I was a big fan of Tommy Smothers, and you know, so this is things are. I'm starting to see that. What else are you going to do? It takes so much time now and effort, and I can't have Adam do all that editing for free. And I guess I'll have another garage sale.
Well, yeah, you have merch out there.
Oh, and I have merch out there.
You got
so.
some merch out there. Yeah. Should we do one last question? Oh, there's a hand. Hello.
I just wanted to say, Ann, I loved your Shirley MacLaine.
Yes, thank you. Oh, thank you.
And a long time ago, a while ago, maybe a year ago, I posted, I don't know if I sent it to you or just tagged you. Vanity Fair had run an article, an interview with you back in the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember you declaring at the top of the interview, I am Shirley MacLaine's next life.
Yeah. That was a good line. You see, I was getting a whole lot of stuff happening around when I got cast in Making Mr. Right and around this time period. But I tell you, when AIDS came in, my brother confided in me. He was HIV positive. My friend Jackson from Charleston, he was HIV positive. And they, don't tell anybody. And you know, you have to hold on to those secrets. And I couldn't tell my parents. And it just, the whole thing, you can't really, it was sort of this trajectory, and then, you know, it's just, I mean, I wasn't going to be in Fatal Attraction, and I don't know, I've heard people say, well, why didn't you become a big star? And I'm like, but for what? Why? For what? What would that look like? What would that look like? First of all,
the pictures that got small.
The pictures got small. No, I was just, there was so much, and I just finished watching the Andy Warhol Diaries on Netflix. And that did a very good job of showing this arc and kind of all that. And when AIDS came into the picture, and just some of the commentary was just how terrified everybody was. It was just, I know a lot of people from the scene I was in, and I know for myself, it was just keep doing things, just keep doing more things, but try to keep it together. And it was very difficult and I mean, that's an understatement. It was just so dark and sad and depressing and traumatizing, and people dying constantly. And you can't even, it's just, if you were there, you know that something like trying to I don't know. Also, I think part of me was like, well, I did that. I mean, well, I got that, or well, that happened and that happened. Now let's do something else, you know. And I was able to do things like, because of that, I was able to get magazine assignments. And I was really interested in going on these trips and doing pieces that were kind of in magazines that were like theater pieces or reportage. I mean, I was interested in, it was good to parlay that into these other avenues that were exciting to me. But then I got to be in some TV shows and movies and things, so it all worked out fine. It's just, I don't know, this culture is like, why weren't you know, why didn't you get more?
Fatal
You get
Attraction
more!
is a slog.
Why didn't you get more? It's like,
But it's a slog. Fatal Attraction's a slog. It's like, this is Fatal Attraction, this is Vandemonium.
well,
And
according
in
to you.
23 minutes, that's like what? Feels
Okay,
like
I'm gonna
8
say,
hours.
we probably can't, I appreciate that quite a bit.
Well,
There is a podcast. Then there's also these great younger people doing these really interesting things in all kinds of forms and mediums. But there are these girls, and I think they're in Portland or Seattle, and they have a podcast called Paid in Puke. And I think that's a line from Heather's or something. And they are hilarious. And I did a podcast with them. It was really fun. And they did one they do mostly on movies or media with women characters and women centric. But they did one on Fatal Attraction. It's the funniest goddamn thing to hear younger people, like these young women watching this movie with these comments are just priceless. So it just goes to show you gotta live as long as you can. Just like, I was reading the script the same way. It's like, what? She kills the bunny? And now she's the evil independent woman. She's evil. Keep her away from the family. She's gonna kill your buddy. She's gonna ruin his life. His precious life, Michael Douglas. Who is probably maybe an okay guy, I don't know. His movies!
Well, Vandemonium definitely holds up better than Fatal Attraction.
I didn't see that. But all the women in most of those movies are so, you know, I mean, it's all, no. Better to call up Rudolph at Danceteria when I need to pay the rent. Rudolph, I got an idea for a show. Great, let's do it. I don't know if it's better, but it's just the way it went down. Just the way it went down.
Well, this was amazing. So
Thank
I
you
mean,
so much for giving me this opportunity.
Making these amazing stuff.
It's good to be reminded that it happened and it exists, and all that love that we poured into it will never die.
Thanks so much, Ann. Thank you.